there's one campaign that also crystallizes a lot of some of these connections with the other things folks have been talking about. We led a campaign last summer that some of you may have heard of called Justice at Hershey's. This is a situation in which 400 foreign students had paid between $3,000 and $6,000 apiece to take part in what's not supposed to be a guest worker program. It's supposed to be a summer work travel program. It's not under Department of Labor, it's under Department of State. It was invented during the Cold War to basically create cultural ambassadors. So students from countries, largely from China, from Turkey, from the former Soviet Union, would pay $3,000 to $6,000 for what was supposed to be the chance of a lifetime. And when they came expecting significant cultural exchange, the chance to improve their English, the chance to travel, meet Americans, they found themselves working for sub-minimum wage pay under atrocious conditions in the Hershey's chocolate packing plant in Palmyra, Pennsylvania. All of the Hershey's products across the East Coast, this is where the chocolate was packed. If you ate any Hershey's products, Valentine's Day, last Halloween, you ate chocolates packed by these students, often for as little as $1 an hour after mandatory deductions, and bruising up and down their arms and legs, exhaustion, and being forced to pay twice market rates for company housing. They had no choice where to live.
Then you had the fact that some of them would ask us, who are your celebrities? Well, I mean, there wasn't the help then. So we didn't have no celebrities, you know. So here we are, a small group of people, and we had to think of, we got Gloria Steinem and Barbara Everett, 2 female activists renowned, and they came on board with us. They journeyed with us to Albany. We had to take a lot of humps and grunts. We took some, and we give some too. I mean, we were strategizing. And we do this through the real grassroots organizing. I heard Matt's talking about the way we organize, and then as we go down, and everyone here has a lot in common, listening to Ross talk about the low wages, people working for 50 and 60 hours, $150. I work for $271 every 2 weeks. Some people work for $200 and $300 per month. And when you actually, don't roll your eyes, honey, it happened up to today. And you know, it is like, what is happening? It's people not aware of this, but simply because people knew there weren't any set guidelines is why they were doing this to the workers. We imagine people look after their prized possession, and this is the way you treat them. And the walkers are making $20 not per hour per walk. Because when you see a guy with 5 dogs walking, for that one walk, that's $100 for that one walk. And he walks those dogs sometimes 3 and 4 times a day. And that's $400 for that one day. Domestic workers do not actually make that, some of them, within a week. We have diplomats who bring people here and exploit them. And yet, so because of that, the diplomatic status is when they think that they can really get around with it. And I mean, when I think about these cases and hear workers talking about it, is when I actually gain more power to fight for this workforce. Not only for the domestic workers, for the working class people of this country. I actually moved from being, I did not follow my career in nursing. I became a full-time activist, full-time organizer, and outreach coordinator for Domestic Workers United. And I did it not only because of the money, but because something had to be done. There had to be some people standing up. So actually I became a voice for the voiceless. A voice for those who were afraid to speak out because the fear that was put into them. A voice to those people who were afraid because of the status within the country. And I was on the front line screaming and shouting and fighting, despite the fact that I was undocumented at that time. I mean, somebody's got to stand up for people. And I strongly stood up for what I believe in. I believe in justice, dignity, and respect for all working class people. Because we have been taken advantage of far too long. And the reason this has been happening is because we stood back and never went forward on the front line. And we have to, actually make that step forward. Fighting for the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights is not the end. We've gotten the Bill of Rights. We were able to have overtime for domestic workers after putting in 40 hours. They are now entitled to overtime at the rate of time and a half the regular rate. And why I say the regular rate is simply because some employers were paying the overtime, but they were paying it at the minimum rate, which is $7.25. Those are for the live-out nannies who go home every evening, and those that live in are entitled to overtime after 44 hours. They have protection against discrimination, sexual harassment on the job. Another thing that we've gotten is 3 paid days off per year. This is after working with your employer for 1 year, you're entitled to 3 paid days off. This is not vacation. And this is something that unions have to negotiate, will have to negotiate for, but we do not. It is legislation.